We make our way to the Crown Tundra, literally just south of our hometown. You would think someone would have brought up this giant glacial area up at some point, but I'm just happy to be here. Off the bat, it opens to a wonderful snowscape. The music you're hearing is the song from this wild area, and I love how it perfectly captures the majesty of this new place. We see a young lady running away from her father, and when you butt into their conversation, she asks you to back her up. Obviously, this is none of my business, so I decline, but you already know we need to keep this story moving forward, so we have a quick battle against the dad. You might have picked up on the fact that he looks a lot like Chairman Rose. He even has a Caparaja just like the previous antagonist. Their connection would have been a really fun reveal if they kept it this subtle, but 5 minutes later a scientist blatantly points out these similarities. Awesome. Also, quick spoilers, they never comment or have a big reveal at the end, so I might just be crazy. In the heat of our battle, the daughter ran away. This leads into a chase towards the Max Caves, which is our first look at how this expansion shakes up the classic Pokemon formula. These caves work like a roguelike. You and 3 other Splunkers choose one Pokemon to rent from the science team. You build a party that can synergize against a Dynamax Pokemon while you vote on your route forward. This all culminates into a battle against a legendary Pokemon previously unseen in the game. I really like this idea. It's a nice switch from the usual formula, and it leads you to favor teamwork more so than your own strategy. You can catch the Pokemon on the way and switch them out to keep your team dynamic, but you only leave with one, so make sure you catch that legendary. Sure, working with the team has its faults. This child continues to use Substitute every round, and I feel like I'm mainly doing all the work, but I can only imagine how fun this is with real friends. Jumping on Discord for on-the-fly decisions and simultaneously seeing the legendary reveal itself at the end, I could see that being a lot of fun. I know when I saw the final battle was against a Suicune, I was pumped and had a huge flood of nostalgia for my time with Silver. I can only imagine what these caves have in store moving on. We make a deal with the daughter Peona that she's going to do whatever she wants, and we'll hang out with her dad. It's a tale as old as time. Peony the dad seems totally cool with this and tells me to meet him at a town called Freezington and runs away laughing. Alright dude. We make it into town and meet with the mayor. This is a quiet little community and he's genuinely shocked to see anybody cared enough to come visit. He even gives us a sweater based on the legend of their local folklore, the King of Bountiful Harvest. This is a perfect way to set up an intriguing story. We aren't beat to death with a premise, just an old guy giving us a hoodie and pointing us towards a statue that makes you wonder what's going on around here. This is cut short by our boy Peony calling us to his lodge. This is the beginning to the meat of this expansion. 3 mysteries we need to track down and discover for ourselves. Normally I would find a story dump like this to be a little off-putting, but I actually find using Peony as the arbiter for this an extremely smart move. He hands you these papers giving you a hint for each questline, but they're all scribbled in crayon with big chunks of text missing. It's a reflection of his oblivious but endearing qualities that also have the added benefit of leaving the actual discoveries up to you. He pushes us to start with the Harvest King story, hitting us with that hokey anime title spin, and buddy, I am down for this. They hint that the king is supposed to have a big ol' head, and the thing on the table is the same color and texture as the statue. Bing bang boom, we're off to the moon. You walk outside and it gives you that fat landscape shot. 3 zones with 3 stories. Perfect. Once you put the head back on the statue, we get a glimpse of the king himself. You are the goofiest looking dude I have ever seen. Once you give him the 1-2 buckle my shoe, we learn it's trying to talk to us. Peony runs out. No. Oh no. Oh no. I know they try real hard here to say that this harvest man isn't hurting him, but body snatching and talking Pokemon isn't the road I thought we would walk down. In any case, the king has lost his magic because people don't believe in him anymore, and we're just out here doing fairy rules, I guess. You walk around town and ask people if they still believe in this weirdo, and it seems to be a vicious cycle of him losing his helpful power due to negligence, and people no longer believing because he doesn't have any power to help them. Listen, there's like 8 people in this town, and all you would need to do is walk 12 feet in front of you, and they would all believe in you pretty quickly, but no. we're just gonna need to reunite him with his trusty steed. He finally spirits away from Peony, and the guy handles it like a champ. He just pushes his existential crisis out of his mind and goes to sleep for the next 16 hours, as we all would do. Right now, we need to find more information about this here horse. They ask you to find the mare again, and this takes us to a new wild area, and this might be my favorite of the three. This whole environment reminds me of Skyrim, and not just because of the use of heavy blue, gray, and white palettes. It has the same quality of epic reality where the world is believable, but always has something interesting in your line of sight that pushes you to find all the surprises in store. There's a wonderful use of space in this landscape. You'll find a grassy hill that has a huge cave system underneath it. Mountain trails naturally progress into the Arctic seaside. This is a perfect setting to use in tandem with mysteries to solve, making your exploration and sharp eye worth all the effort. We asked the mayor to tell us about the steed, and he doesn't know anymore. Although he does tell us that figuring out what it likes to eat is the best way to lure it back. You check out a book on Pokemon food and you'll be shocked to learn that horses like carrots. But what kind of carrots? Nobody asked. See, this is where a parallel with cub food starts. There are two kinds of carrots you can make by growing it either in a frosty field or a literal graveyard. This will alter the legendary Pokemon's type, and I still think this is a great idea. While it's hard to say which one would be the better fit empirically, it's so nice to feel like you're customizing your own legendary. I already went dark last time, so I wanted to opt for a nice ice combination. You plant the seeds, and the king casts a powerful spell to instantly grow the vegetable. Man, this is all really weird, even by Pokemon standards. This frozen carrot makes the horse jump into action, but not here, no. We need reins to control the beast, and it ain't worth doing unless it's thematically appropriate, so we are heading up the mountain. After the mayor botches the craft work, we have a slight twist of Peony actually coming through and crafting beautiful reins. I would say that he comes across as an idiot savant, but I think both of those words are too extreme. He's more like a dim flashlight that works underwater. With reins in hand, you kick it all the way up the mountain. There are a few breathtaking shots of the landscape while you ascend. It's refreshing to see a cave done perfectly. It twists and turns through different levels, but each dead end still offers something worth finding and overall is brief enough to feel like a solid detour. So we get to the top and we enter the Temple of Time to reunite the king with his steed. They're hooting and hollering, but hey, this is what we want out of a game. The two finally become one, and we get a final monologue of the king thanking us for reuniting him and getting his power back with the help of the townsfolk. Which is weird, because we also have a chance here to catch him and keep him forever without any chance of him fulfilling his purpose. You just gotta be real careful and... yeah, you just want a weak attack to... You throw a Master Ball at him, and the day is saved. It's really strange to catch a Pokemon after having several conversations with it. It's this all-powerful legendary that's been around for centuries, and now he just follows me on whatever I'm doing. Look, I even named him Goofster. Ha! Goofsta. That's a stupid name. With this mystery solved, we can finally begin the other two. Let me tell you something. I was not ready for the heat this game was about to throw at me. So, these two quests are pretty similar. All we need to do is catch 7 Pokemon and we are good to go. This is the hardest thing I have ever done in a Pokemon game. Let's start with the Regis. There are 4 temples scattered around the wildland and each one has a different puzzle to get them open. The Rock Temple is nice and easy. Just pop an Everstone on your lead Pokemon and you're good to go. The music that plays inside of this temple is insane, and I love that. So much harsher and upbeat than most of the tracks we've heard so far. Perfectly fitting to how hard it is to catch these things. Regirock wasn't that bad. Turns out Goofsta is a pretty decent tank, and if you can pop off 3 iron defenses, you're golden. Just try to get his health as low as you can, and after that it's just hoping the Pokeball will stick. I was able to catch it with a Dust Ball, and I'm not sure if this counts as a cave, but hey, whatever works. This takes us to Registeel, and the only clue we get is ring the piercing note that will wake the Giant of Steel. I spent a hot minute trying to figure this out. Could I use Screech outside of battle? Is there an item that makes a loud noise? After absolutely failing this puzzle, I asked my buddy if he knew. Did you know there's a whistle button? I sure didn't, but there it is. L3 and we're good to go. I circled around this map trying to find something to help me, and all I really needed to do was button mash to succeed. As dumb as I feel now, this isn't even the worst part. I'm gonna speed all this up, but trust me, this is agonizing. Almost 15 minutes of brute force Pokeball throwing. It got to the point where Registeel literally ran out of moves and just spammed Iron Defense even though it didn't do anything. And let me be the first person to say that I know there's an easier way to do this if I had a Pokemon that could put it to sleep or paralyze it. I'm just trying to say that this catch rate seems a little extreme. But buddy, when that Pokeball finally clicked, I popped off harder than I had all game. It is so nice to finally feel that kind of relief and engagement again. Our next stop is up in the mountains. This puzzle actually makes you catch a Pokemon near the summit, and it's nice to feel like catching them all has a legitimate reward. I even get some solid use out of the snowflakes, so it's all worth it. There's only one decent name for a thing like this, and I'd be a fool if I didn't use it. The final Boulder Boy requires that you have all the previous Regis in your party, and then you need to pay attention to the indentation on the front of the temple. The combination will decide if you get a dragon or electric type. I love how they hint at this in the cutscene. Do you understand? Do you understand now? Personally, I'm gonna need to go with dragon. I don't have a solid dragon type yet, and having a Pokemon that's basically a ball with a dragon around it lets me make terrible jokes. And there you go, 4 legends in the palm of your hand. Those battles were tough, right? Well, how about we do that all again, but this time you have to travel around the world to find them. Ladies and gentlemen, the birds are back in town. You're bound to stumble onto this giant pink tree. Who wouldn't? You get this cutscene of the 3 legendary birds from the first gen all redesigned to fit with the new area. Their encounter perfectly captures what type of Pokemon they are, while still keeping that air of mystery about them. Of course, we then get a phone call from Peony and it scares the birds away. This begins our final quest, a legendary tree of a legendary 3. First things first, I gotta check this thing out. I was surprised to see that you could shake it like a berry tree from before. Obviously, it doesn't move, but if you're as hard-headed as I am, this isn't gonna stop you. So, do you remember all those berry trees from the main game and how stale that content was? Just guessing how many times you could shake it before you get attacked by a squirrel and then lose all the berries? Can you believe that they actually pay off this idea with a giant tree holding a Dynamax squirrel that can wipe your whole team? If you win, you get a ridiculous bundle of berries as a prize, and suddenly, I don't feel nearly as salty about the main game's gimmick anymore. Say what you want about Game Freak, but I think they really listened to us on this one. With that out of the way, we need to finish this quest. The only thing we have to go off is that all 3 of these birds are running around in the open in 3 different zones. You'll need to scale the mountain again, while also visiting the main game's wild area, as well as the Isle of Armor. This is an homage to Silver and Gold, and I love it. I started with Moltres because I wanted to see the Isle of Armor again. Off the bat, you can see it in front of you and you know you have to chase it down. I followed it for a while without making any real progress, and then it clicked. You remember those slowpokes from the beginning of this video? That's it, baby. We just need to wait for the bird to come to us. You know, it's times like these where we can take a moment just to breathe. Think about the cool bike this game gave us, or the way our lead Pokemon could follow us. It's really... Oh, here it comes. Remember what Eminem said about one shot and blowing or whatever. Be ready to catch this thing. After it's all said and done, I really do like this redesign. It feels like they have so much more creative freedom with these DLC decisions, and I appreciate that. Articuno makes me want to die. They're just somewhere on the mountain, and it's so hard to track them down. You're just begging to have your camera pan up just a little further to look out in the skies for this encounter. Even when you do find them, they split into 3 copies and you have to choose the one that's out of sync. If you mess this up, the bird is donezo, so this is incredibly nerve-wracking. After a handful of resets, I finally had a good run at victory, but they definitely don't take it easy. So many minutes of my life spent angrily throwing Pokeballs at a Pokemon I will literally never use. I just don't know how I'm gonna sleep at night. Zapdos is our last prize, and it's the best chase of all. They stick to the ground and run as fast as they can, but the route is short enough that if you cut the corners, you can run them down. Just be careful not to catch them in a hailstorm. That's a pretty silly reset. You know, enough time has passed since I've been back to the main world, and I'm actually glad to give it a second rundown. There's a few spots I haven't looked through before, a few items I never picked up. As strange as it is to say, I really think the quality of these 2 expansions have brought a new outlook to the main game, at least for me. We have our final encounter, and it's a perfect send-off, just as nail-biting as the rest, with the added nostalgia of being back in the place where it all started. And finally, we catch this bird and call it a day on the expansions. We bring the news back to Peony, and of course he's pleased as cheese that we finished all the adventures he planned for his daughter. This is her cue to show up and cause a panic. He's gonna need to create a new story for them to share, leaving us with a thanks and a job well done. The end.
Yeah, but what about the 4th mystery that has you doing 10 random Max Cave fights?
So with the story totally finished, it's time to get to the main question. Are these expansions good, and can they save Sword and Shield? Remember, this is just my opinion, but they knock it out of the park. Both of the new areas are so detailed and bring all these familiar tones back to the game. The story is fleshed out with these developed characters that are actually likable and bounce the plot forward in a way that puts the gameplay front and center. They jump to new activities and challenges naturally and pay homage to the things we all love about the Pokemon games we started with. This experience is so good that it brings new life to the original content that felt dead on arrival. But overall, there's still a few major issues. As much fun as these packs are, I can't shake the fact that in total this is a $90 experience, and I would wager that it would only take a new game for me to remember all the issues I had with the main story. It's a tough place to be. I think if they made these expansions free as content updates, we would be having a whole new happy conversation on our hands. But as it stands, I can't bring myself to say it's all worth the time and money to get to this point. Listen, Pokemon is not dead. I hope this video helps bring light to the infinite room for improvement this series can make. The game we love is still out there, but only time will tell if we ever see it. Personally, I think we have a great future ahead of us, and I'm excited to watch it flourish.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Hey, thank you for watching the video. I just wanted to thank all of y'all for helping me hit 1,000 subscribers. Next weekend, I wanted to make a video just talking about the path forward and a quick Q&A, so if you have any questions, comments, or even just feedback about what I should do in the future, please leave it in the comments section, and I'll see you then.